We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, the number of confirmed deaths from China's coronavirus outbreak spiked to 425 after authorities in Hubei province reported 64 new fatalities Tuesday. Indonesian evacuees, mostly university students from Wuhan, arrive at Hang Nadiem International Airport in Batam, Indonesia, and are sprayed with disinfectant. Amid fears of a deadly coronavirus originating from central China, none were seen on Monday morning at the Grand Palace or the Erawan Shrine. The number of confirmed deaths from China's coronavirus outbreak spiked to 425 after authorities in Hubei province reported 64 new fatalities Tuesday. In its daily update, figures from the Health Commission in Hubei, which has been hit hardest by the virus, also showed a sharp increase in confirmed infections with 2,345 new cases. That puts the national total at 19,550 based on numbers previously issued by the central government. The epidemic, which has spiraled into a global health emergency, is believed to have emerged in December from a market that sold wild game in the Hubei provincial capital, Wuhan. There are now cases reported in more than 20 countries. There has been one death outside China in the Philippines. The Chinese government has said it urgently needs surgical masks, protective suits, and safety goggles as it battles to control the outbreak. The Department of Health, or DOH, announced today that at least 30 patients under investigations have been found negative for the novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease. The 30 are among the total of 80 PUIs recorded in the country as of 12 p.m. Monday, February 3. DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III said of the 80 PUIs, 67 have been admitted and isolated in different hospitals, while 10 were discharged but are still under strict monitoring. Also included in the list are the two positive cases, a 38-year-old Chinese woman who remains in isolation at San Lazaro Hospital and her 44-year-old partner who died Saturday, February 1, as well as a 29-year-old Chinese man who died at San Lazaro Hospital last week.
Ito pong pagtaas ng ating PUIs ay nangangahulugan na ang atin pong pagmamatsyag o surveillance ay atin nang napaunlad. So, much better surveillance system at ganoon din po ang contact tracing natin ng Epidemiology Bureau. At atin pong pinalawig din ang ating PUI category to the whole of China. So hindi lang po ito Wuhan or Hubei, kundi buong China na po. At ito pong kahapon na deklara ng ating Pangulo yung imposition ng travel ban to mainland China, including Hong Kong and Macau. No? Kasama po yan.
Meanwhile, Dr. Ferchito Avellino, chief of the DOH's epidemiology, announced that they have already found the people who came in contact with the Chinese couple who tested positive for the 2019 novel coronavirus.
As of today, meron na tayong nakuhang 74 na contacts nung dalawang pasyente na positibo sa nCoV. At sila po ay nabigyan na rin ng nararapat na advice kung anong gagawin nila with regards to home quarantine. Gusto namin linawin na ang home quarantine na sinasabi natin, ito po ay parang isolation lang din sa loob ng bahay. Ibig sabihin, wala silang privilege na makipaghalubilo sa miyembro ng kanilang pamilya. Doon sa PUI na reported today, may nakitaan tayo na sa contact tracing. may nagkaroon may sinyales ng symptoms ng ubo at sipon. At ito ay nakasama na sa bilang na ating rinireport ngayon.
Meanwhile, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III was careful to highlight that the second confirmed carrier of 2019 nCoV who died on Saturday is recorded as a death on the part of China, which means that the Philippines still maintained zero local transmission.
The two are imported cases. And the one who died is a statistics for China. Okay, that's not for us because ours, zero local transmission.
Many flights coming and going to China are canceled as the Philippines barred entry of foreigners who have recent history of travel from China, Hong Kong, and Macau after the country recorded the first death from novel coronavirus outside China.
Siyempre, malungkot, mahirap kasi lalo na po ako, breadwinner ako. Yun po, kapag natenga ako, walang trabaho, siyempre, yung everyday income, pinapaaral pa po ako mga anak. Siyempre, mahirap din po yun. Ayun nga, kaya nga ako umuwi para asikasuhin yung mga dapat mga asikasuhin, magpa-renew ng passport, lakarin yung mga dapat kong lakarin habang nandito kasi bilang yung araw ko ng holiday, naka 13 holidays lang ako. Dahil sa nangyaring to, hindi ko alam kung ano ba, kung dapat ba akong lumabas.
Indonesian evacuees, mostly university students from Wuhan, arrive at Hang Nadiem International Airport in Batam, Indonesia, and are sprayed with disinfectant. According to Jakarta Globe News Agency, the commercial plane operated by Lion Air's subsidiary Batik Air arrived at the airport at around 8:45 a.m. Any passenger coming out of the plane was sprayed with disinfectant by medical staffs in yellow protective coats to follow procedure from the World Health Organization. The passengers were accompanied by 5 foreign ministry officials who assisted their return from Wuhan and several other cities in Hubei province. The evacuees then moved to 3 Air Force personnel planes that took them to the Natuna Island, where they were placed in quarantine. Tight security was applied at Natuna's Raden Sajjad Airport, which was completely closed to the public. The government said earlier all the evacuees would undergo medical examination for 2 weeks on the island to make sure that they are not infected by the deadly virus. Health Minister Terawan Agus Putrano said there should have been 7 more Indonesian citizens to be evacuated from Wuhan. The number of evacuees should have been 245, Terawan said in Natuna, Riau Islands province. He explained that 4 Indonesian citizens refused to return and preferred to stay in the Chinese city. They have signed a statement on the refusal. 3 other Indonesians failed to pass the Chinese government obligatory medical check and were not allowed to leave the city, he said. However, Indonesian authorities will place quarantine to make sure that the virus won't spread in the country, he added. Indonesian Military Chief of Staff Chief Air Marshal Hadi Tjahanto said the Natuna Island was selected to accommodate the evacuees because it's far from the residential areas with sufficient healthcare facilities managed by the military. Hadi said the military hospital can accommodate up to 300 patients. Hundreds of residents of a remote Indonesian island protest at the government's decision to use it to quarantine evacuees from the Chinese city at the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak.
Tentu kami akan duduk sampai keputusan akhir di sini. Karena kami tidak ada tawar-menawar untuk menolak ini. Karena kami yakin penyakit yang dibawa di sini sangat berbahaya untuk masyarakat Natuna ini.
Kurang, jangankan untuk mereka yang datang, untuk kita di Natuna aja masih kekurangan alat medis segala macam. Jadi di situ kita tidak ingin virus itu tertular kepada masyarakat kita. Jadi kita harus tegaskan tetap.
Schools in Vietnam have been instructed to temporarily shut down amid the quick spread of coronavirus. According to Vietnam Insider News Agency, Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc has asked the Ministry of Education and Training and the Ministry of Health to guide localities nationwide on the school closures. Schools across the country, ranging from nursery to high school, have allowed their pupils to temporarily stay at home. Localities can decide how long local schools should be closed based on the situation in their area. The Hanoi Department of Education and Training announced on Sunday that nursery to vocational training schools would remain shut from February 3 to 10. On the same day, the HCM City Department of Education and Training decided to shut down local schools for a week, starting from February 3 to 9. By late Sunday afternoon, up to 70 out of 191 universities nationwide had permitted their students to stay at home until February 10 or even February 17. Vietnam on Saturday declared an epidemic as the number of people infected with the 2019 novel coronavirus was increasing day by day. Vietnam confirmed the 8th coronavirus case with a 73-year-old American, 2 Chinese nationals, 5 Vietnamese citizens, 4 returning from Wuhan, and a female hotel receptionist who has caught the coronavirus infection from the 2 Chinese nationals presently quarantined in HCM City. The World Health Organization says it is working around the clock with internet and social media giants to combat misinformation surrounding the deadly novel coronavirus outbreak.
Combat the spread of rumors and misinformation. To that end, we have worked with Google to make sure people searching for information about coronavirus see WHO information at the top of their search results. Social media platforms including Twitter, Facebook, Tencent and TikTok have also taken steps to limit the spread of misinformation. We call on all countries to implement decisions that are evidence-based and consistent. WHO stands ready to provide advice to any country that is considering which measures to take.
Net25 is now available on OSN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net25 shows live and on demand,
Anytime, anywhere,
on any mobile device on OSN Play.
The elderly undeniably serve as a significant part of society as they impart valuable knowledge and life lessons that can't be learned from school. That's why they should not be neglected and forgotten. EBC Cares, enabling a better community.
Welcome back. 2 AirAsia chiefs will step aside for at least 2 months as authorities and the airline look into claims that aerospace giant Airbus paid the company $50 million to secure a plane order. Airbus said last week it had agreed to set aside up to 3.6 billion euros to settle a corruption probe by authorities in France, Britain, and the United States. As news of the probe widened, the Malaysia-based AirAsia was named in a bribery investigation by Britain's Serious Fraud Office, allegedly implicating 2 company executives. In a late Monday filing on Malaysia's stock market, the budget carrier said its chief executive Tony Fernandez and executive chairman Kamarudin Meranun would leave their positions immediately. The airline said both men were to stand down for a period of 2 months or such other period that the company may deem fit. The airline's board formed a committee to review the allegations, stating that Kamarudin and Fernandez would be kept as company advisors and redesignated as non-independent, non-executive board members. A court document on the SFO's website said EAD's France SAS, which was later renamed as Airbus Group SAS, paid $50 million as sponsorship for a sport team owned by 2 unnamed AirAsia's executives. Identified as key decision makers in AirAsia and AirAsia X, the company long-haul arm, they were allegedly rewarded with the order of 180 aircraft from Airbus. The payments to the sports team were intended to secure or reward improper favor by the or in respect of that business, the document said. Both Kamarudin and Fernandez denied any wrongdoing and said in a Monday joint statement that they would not harm the very companies that they spent their entire lives building up to their present global status. The airline previously said it was not involved in any way with the SFO's Airbus investigation, nor was it given an opportunity to provide any information to the Fraud Investigator Office. Bangkok's top tourist attractions would normally be thronged with large numbers of Chinese tour groups at this time of year, but amid fears of a deadly coronavirus originating from central China, none were seen on Monday morning at the Grand Palace or the Erawan Shrine.
可能目前还没有感受到，我觉得大家都很正常，在这个环境下。 可能中国世界各地上都对中国的这个武汉肺炎有比较大的影响，但是现在武汉已经是处于封城状态了，所以他们是现在无法外流，所以相对于其他地方来说的话，应该还是算比较安全的。
我们广东这边的话，我们的一些自我防护还是很好的，然后例如口罩啊、消毒啊。 还有我们入境出境的时候，我们的海关监管也是非常的严格。对，是中国大陆我们出境的时候，他们的一层一层检验都很严谨的。可能会更多给人家觉得武汉的就带菌，然后其实很多人都对武汉这2个字现在非常敏感，对。 但是我觉得大家都是中国人，大家都是人类，是吧？那他们有这个疫情也是不想的，所以的话，我觉得还是要公平一点对待武汉人。
Overseas Filipino workers affected by the temporary travel ban due to the novel coronavirus in China will be entitled to receive 10,000 pesos cash aid and other assistance, the Department of Labor and Employment announced on Monday. In a memorandum, Acting DOLE Secretary Renato Erbarle directed the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration to provide monetary assistance to each stranded Filipino worker. The OWA has also been directed to provide accommodation and transport assistance to the OFWs. The move will help ease the burden on would-be departing workers and assist them in their transport back to their places of origin, Erbarle said. He said stranded Filipino workers can stay at the OWA halfway house while waiting for their trip back to their respective provinces. Erbarle issued the memorandum upon the instruction of DOLE Secretary Silvestre Bello III, who is still in Kuwait. Hundreds of OFWs bound mostly for Hong Kong and Macau were stranded at the Manila airports on Monday following the travel ban imposed by President Rodrigo Duterte. The temporary travel ban was ordered as precautionary measure to prevent the spread of the deadly novel coronavirus that originated in Wuhan City in Hubei Province, China. And that is latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am 1 with 25.